Wayne,
Okay,
welcome. Thanks so much for taking the time to hang out and talk sponsorship.
absolutely. Thanks for taking the time and letting me on.
Oh my goodness, it's a pleasure. Fill us all in about your sponsorship property, your sponsorship opportunity, your org. Tell us everything.
Brave Enough to Fail is a nonprofit. We provide student motivational programs, educational resources, and scholarships to help students succeed in school and beyond. And we have a couple of properties. Our main one is our Brave Enough to Fail Person of Courage Gala, which
Mm,
just took place a couple weeks ago.
yeah, how'd it go? Dare I
It
ask?
went it went fantastic.
Amazing.
It was our best one yet.
Yeah. What made it the best one?
We made more money.
Yeah, that helps. So the Brave Enough to Fail your gala. What was the second? You said there was two properties.
Yes, the second one is actually just really kicking off is our Boss Academy program,
Yeah.
which is a program that we provide to schools, and the
Mm,
main sponsors for that, colleges and organizations.
brilliant. Yeah, I got to ask about the name. What a great name of the org. How did this come about?
Well, brave enough to mean being to risk failure is a non-negotiable requirement for success in any. Our goal is to inspire young people with the courage to go after dreams, whatever that dream is.
Mm, that's great. It's interesting. It's like um, it, brave enough to fail. Failure is a requirement for success. And
It
if
is
you avoid failure, you're going to avoid winning.
100%.
Yeah. So you can the path to winning is about counting how many times you fail and then continue. So how many people are involved in your properties, your gala and your program?
We fairly small nonprofit. My team, including our board and all our committees, is about 15 people.
Oh wow, okay. So is this your team of volunteers and staff for 15 people?
It's my staff is actually two,
Wow.
and our other staff of volunteers, our board is another nine, and then we have a couple of volunteers.
Amazing. Um, so let's talk about sponsorship.
Well, this is our fourth uh, Courage Award, and that's what the gala is called, the Person of Courage Award, and is it was the largest and the most successful.
Mm,
Previously, as a small nonprofit, obviously one of our major challenges is fundraising and development, and we really doing the whole, hey, give us some money, we do a great thing, and you can have like the gold package, the platinum package, and that's literally what we were doing.
yeah. How did that go?
Well, it not wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard this
So,
before. So you used to do the like let me gold silver bronze you,
mhm.
and now what do you do?
Now we tell people, hey, we've got this one engaged audience of upwardly mobile affluent and families in southwestern Connecticut, and wouldn't you like to be a part of this audience? Wouldn't you like to connect with them? And that's really what we do. That's what I learned, and it has been very, very successful.
Fascinating. But that strikes me as a big shift. Did you get resistance when internally? When I don't mean like internally for you, I mean like internally within your org when you decided to make such a shift in approach.
Resistance, what internally was from me.
Yeah,
Because,
really. Okay, so
yes,
you were the culprit.
yes. Well, because it was out of my comfort zone. I'm used to calling people and asking them for money directly.
Right.
Call them up. This is what I do. This is our story. This is our impact. Don't you love us? And doing the whole, for me, it was, dude, this is like sales, and I hate sales. So yes, the paradigm shift actually had to begin with me.
That's really interesting. And so you move from a sales upfront approach to a discovery approach where you're having conversations and connecting brands and local companies with audience, with their target market. So you're going through the process of discovery. What are some of the questions that you now ask, that you love to ask when you're talking to potential sponsors?
Now I like to ask, number one, who are you trying to reach? What have you done to connect with those folks? And how can we help you connect with our folks?
Yeah. Brilliant. And what's the reaction like?
Much better than I thought it was. I thought it was going to be. For me, the big thing was, remember, I just said I had to go from, this is like sales, and I hate sales.
Yeah.
It was actually something that you said in one of the course videos. You said, instead of looking at it like that, think of it as, no, I have this wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And I'm actually wanting to know if you are the right fit for our people.
Yeah.
And once I started doing that, and the other thing I found out is, I thought everybody was going to be doing this. And it's like almost like nobody's doing this.
No one's doing it. So you really stand out when you do it that way.
Yes. The first time I knew it was going to work, I got a vice president of a bank on the phone.
Yep.
And I said, this is, I have an audience of high net worth families and individuals from Lower Fairfield County, Connecticut. And your bank really came up nice in our survey.
Brilliant.
And he said, oh. And it was that, oh. And I went, he's listening. And so I said, well, 70% of our donors earn $150K or more. 24% of them would consider changing their financial institution over the next few months.
Wild.
And he said, okay, well, listen, let me connect you with our vice president of marketing.
That's wild.
And that's when I knew that, okay, this will actually work.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I know it works, but it doesn't normally work that well. So you're obviously adding your own approach. And one of my longtime friends and early mentors, her name's Mena. She said to me, "It's hard to say no to passionate people." And I can imagine that perhaps some of your passion comes through, and that's what made it work so quickly and so well. Because that's a pretty, like, that's wild.
Yeah.
So you show up, you're asking about them, you're talking about your audience, you're letting them know what you discovered about your audience and their buying habits. Instead of mission first, vision first, gold, silver, bronze, you shifted the model, and then he made a connection. He or she made a connection to their VP marketing.
I think the main thing that I would say works, like for me personally, is I talk to them. I talk to my prospects as me, as just a person.
Yeah.
And so I'm not like, hi, would you like to connect? No, it's like, okay, hey, I do this thing.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the people that come up to this thing, they're people that buy your stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really like that.
Yeah.
The best story that I can share with you, if you have time, is for the gala that we just did, because I'm also a teacher. I teach middle school history in addition to doing this running Brave Enough to Fail. So
you're a full-time teacher, like you have a day job?
Yeah.
And then you do sponsorship on sponsorship on the side as well as run this this. Okay, amazing.
So I had a call scheduled with the owner of a spa. a high-end spa in New Canaan, Connecticut. Which, if you know anything about Connecticut, it's New Canaan. It's like money, but it turned out my schedule got changed, so I was in class at that time.
Mm.
So rather than reschedule the call, I said, "Okay, class, I'm going to take this phone call in
No
class."
way.
And one of my students, her mom happens to be on our board of directors. So she was at our last gala.
This is amazing.
So I said, Bella, come help me with this. Here's what you're going to say. So she wants to know who's at our gala. Tell her, well, it's a lot of rich ladies who would like a spa. They would do that.
Yeah.
And
great.
so that's what she did.
That's great.
I said, I have a student here. She knows, she's been to our gala. She knows who's there. So I said, who's there, Bella? You've seen them. And she said, yeah, it's a lot of rich ladies who would love a day at the spa and would use that kind of stuff. It's people like my mom. And so based on that phone call, that owner bought one of our largest sponsorship deals. They were one of our signature sponsors. That's for real.
Yeah. That's a phenomenal story. What a great story. What subject did you say you teach?
I teach history. I teach grades 6, 7, and 8.
So fun fact about me is I studied history in undergrad. And so clearly there's something about studying history that makes you good at sponsorship.
Right. Clearly.
We have a sample of 2. What more do you need?
Yeah.
That's too funny. So I don't know. Are cold call nerves a thing that you experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a huge thing.
Was it? Okay. I'm the same. I hate cold. To this day, cold calls are the thing I struggle with the most in the sponsorship. In any sales world. So how do you deal with that?
Actually, I talked to my coach, Shabab, who is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I said, when I first downloaded the script and everything, and I went on LinkedIn, it looked overwhelming.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I gotta do 7 people, and so I had to personalize it a little.
Yeah, for sure.
Because number one, I realized, okay, I'm calling locally, so a lot of the people that I'm reaching, there's not 7 people.
Yeah.
So it's like 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
In some cases, 1, the owner.
Yeah.
So that broke it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I had to start doing it.
Yeah.
And I would say once you do something like 20 times,
yeah,
it gets easier.
Yeah.
And then, and no, not everybody said yes.
Yeah.
A bunch of people were like no, or didn't get back to me or whatever. But out of the ones who did, I did get, even if they said no, they were nice. I mean, what's the most they're going to do? Say no. And you move on.
Yeah.
So once I figured that out, it did get easier. But yes, whole call nerves and the whole looking at it and it being overwhelming, that's a real thing.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. So it sounds like kind of simplifying it and just doing it.
Yeah.
Like how do you make cold calls? You make cold calls. And when I first started so I spent 10 years working in fundraising and cause sponsorship. That's where I got my start. And then I moved out of the nonprofit space and into other sponsorship realms, and then eventually Sponsorship Collective. But when I first started, I was volunteering for an org. I won't say who they are because I don't want them to know this story. And my job was to get sponsors for a golf tournament. And they were like, here's a list of all the people that were there last year and all the local companies. Just call them and ask them for money. And so I called, it had to be the first 50 people, and I hung up on them. I was too nervous. I didn't know what to say. And then eventually I started to speak. And I'm not embarrassed to admit this. Like, I was stressed out. I couldn't do cold calls. And it was just repeating the action over and over again. And I thought the worst thing I could hear was no, and I was wrong. The scariest thing was when I heard yes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, now what do I do? Like, let me introduce you to the VP of marketing. It's like, uh-oh, I hung up.
Yeah.
So, it's just like it is a necessary part of the process. And it's part of the process people skip because it's so scary. And yet that's the cave you fear to enter is the one that holds the treasure you seek. So
Yeah.
fascinating.
And I had to hold myself up to the same standards that I teach my students.
Yeah.
Being brave enough to fail and
Yeah.
taking the risk. I'd be a huge hypocrite if I didn't. But
You're
I
kind
did
of
have
you kind of have no choice.
yes. So I had to get out of my own comfort zone and go ahead and do it. Uh, but again, once you start doing it, it does get easier. And what I found really cool for me is because I let off with, um, hey, would you be interested in connecting with this audience?
Mm.
And the whole your bank showed really well in our survey. Is this an audience you're interested in?
Mm.
It's a different question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't say anything about money yet.
Yeah.
And so at the very least, they'll like most of the people at least said, what do you mean? Or tell me more, or
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Because they're expecting you to say, hey, we're a great cause. You should support the community.
Mhm.
And instead you ask them, hey, is this your audience? I mean, if it's not, then okay, have a great day. But if it is,
Yeah,
maybe we should have a conversation. Um,
absolutely.
Fascinating. So what are some of the activations or the things that you did at your gala that stand out to you as fun or meaningful or unique in some way?
Um, th- uh, I have three activations.
Mm,
Two I used, one I didn't, but I
mm,
love. And they all came from you guys.
mm,
Um, the sample opportunities I had never done,
mm.
the spa that I signed
Yeah.
up, I gave them sample opportunities on all of our tables. So they did
Wow.
these really nice gift bags with an
Yeah.
exfoliant and,
All the stuff.
some other, yeah.
Yeah.
And so those flew off the tables.
Amazing.
Um, the other thing, and I have to shout out, what's her name? Marie,
Mm.
who's on your team. She's in
Yeah.
okay. She is fabulous because I was on one of the calls. She shared it because she runs a nonprofit as
Hmm.
well up
Hmm.
there in Canada, and so I got her contact info from there, and I asked if I could call her,
Yeah.
and she said, "Of course you can." So I called her. We talked. I told her about Brave Enough to Fail, and she's like, "Oh, really? Okay. Well, how about this?" And she's like, "You can sponsor the food." I'm like, "What do you mean? We're at a venue that's serving food." She's like, "No,
Yeah.
no. The dessert entree is brought to you by blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And the she's like, "The valet." I'm like, "Huh?"
Ballet's
She's
a
like,
great
"Yeah,
one.
the
Yeah.
valet."
Ballet's a great one.
So I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I know the valet is a thing, but I didn't
Yeah.
know I
Yeah.
could sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was at an event once. We lined up for the valet, and you could either go left or go right. And if you went left, you went down, it was performance or comfort.
hmm,
You go down the performance path because you had to park really far away from the venue. You got into a BMW and
hmm.
they performance drove you to the venue. If you turned right, you got into a Mercedes and they comfort drove you to the. And so
Ah,
you are self selecting what appeals to you as a consumer. And then you got it effectively as a test drive. And so you were getting into the vehicles. And of course, the performance path was sponsored by and the comfort path was sponsored by. I won't
wow.
share which path I took.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Well, I didn't sell the food thing, but we're going to do it next time.
yeah,
But
nice,
I did get a sponsor for our ballet. And in our
nice,
case, it wasn't a car, it was a bank.
brilliant.
And the other thing that we got is we represent scholarships. And we were able to get sponsors for our scholarship.
Mm,
In fact, that was so successful
interesting.
that we are now in the process of adding on our website. We're
Mm,
making that a thing now, legacy scholarship.
yeah, brilliant.
And so we had some individuals, like a family.
Yeah.
They were able to honor their father, the patriarch of their family. Guy was in World War II, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, not only did they sponsor, but then the family members, extended family, decided to donate to that as well,
Brilliant.
to that scholarship fund. And then we had a local business that sponsored one, and another bank that sponsored one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to establish that as a thing that you can do. You can create a legacy award within Brave Enough to Fail, but that was actually the largest profit center of the event, because in order to do it, you had to pay for the scholarship and also a table.
Nice. That's brilliant. So you're doing sponsorship activations in event, but then you're also doing your activations directly to your mission.
Yes.
That's great. That is the perfect balance. And so this gala, you said, was the best performing from a revenue perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
Previously we had cleared like 10, 11, I think the highest was probably like $12,000, over the event. And we hit $30,000 before the day of the event.
That's amazing.
This year.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your team must have been pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So triple your revenue before you even have the event. I mean, you didn't even have to have the event.
Yeah, but we had to, because you have to
have. That's fantastic. So, but when you've alluded to this a bit, but when we first connected, when you first connected with the Sponsorship Collective, what would you say your biggest misconceptions about sponsorship were versus now?
That sponsorship was like the same as fundraising, and it's not.
Interesting. So sponsorship and philanthropy were the same. That was what you thought, and now you know that is not an accurate statement.
Yes. In fact, now we've had our post gala meeting already, and so our business model has shifted so that we now have 3 specific revenue streams. We have individual donorships.
Yep.
Grants, and sponsorships is its own thing now.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that shift from philanthropy to sponsorship. That's the hardest thing in nonprofits in general. And, I mentioned that I spent a lot of time working in nonprofits and like convincing the board that I'm not just going to go ask a company for a handout. It's not, they're just not going to do it. But if I can connect them to their target audience, then budgets are infinite.
Yeah.
Based entirely on how much of their product I can help them sell, or help them sample, or help them do whatever it is they're trying to do.
Right. And while for us, our sponsors, yes, they're passionate about our mission. They love our mission. They love what we do. But the reason they do it, the thing that gets them to pull the trigger, is the audience.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a marketing decision and versus a philanthropy decision.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a marketing decision. Did you find that challenging? Like that you were being evaluated as a marketing opportunity and not necessarily this mission that you're clearly so passionate about and in love with?
I was until I figured it out.
Right.
Because now it's exciting, because I can now think about all these things that I can sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
With our Boss Academy program that's coming up. Well, now that I think about it, it's like, hold on a second. We can have colleges pay for a branded activation so that, they can have a thing in our video. We're talking about this. Well, guess what? If I'm interviewing, a business owner who was one of our mentors. Well, guess what? X college has a wonderful business school. Okay, well, that's an opportunity for them to say, we offer this here. We are part of the path to your dream. So it opened up all these sources of revenue. So again, it's for me, once I realized what it is, then it's like, oh, and talking to my kids, it's like, see, this is why there's so many ads in all the videos that you watch. You know why? Because they're talking to you.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. So
But it's true. I'm a teacher. I talk to kids all day.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So, and so now we get to talk marketing.
Yeah. Yep. That's great. So let's say that I could round up all the nonprofit and charity peeps in Canada and the US, which would be like millions of people. We could put them all in a giant auditorium, and Wayne's got the mic for 5 minutes, well, for however long it takes. So what is the one thing that you would say to them that they should stop doing when it comes to sponsorship, and what should they do instead? There's a big crowd.
Stop looking at sponsorship as fundraising. Start looking at it as a wonderful marketing opportunity that you have for them.
Brilliant. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. First of all, that's brilliant. I totally agree. It's a fascinating thing to me when I talk to my major gift colleagues and individual giving colleagues who go out and ask individuals for their money. They don't feel like beggars. You're helping somebody change the world and contribute to the world with their money. It's very therapeutic. The person's happy to give you the money. Like, you feel like you're part of the process of either helping them memorialize somebody or helping them connect to the mission. But as soon as those same individuals move into sponsorship, their mindset changes and they start thinking themselves as beggars. Can I please have some of your money, like cap in hand? But what you just said is, like, see yourself as someone who can help this company connect to their target market. Like, what you have to offer is actually of value and important.
Right.
But only if you speak the right language, and that's the language of marketing.
Yeah. In fact, I was literally at an event last night for another charity, and we're going to be partnering with.
Nice.
And their event was at this really, really exclusive yacht club right on Long Island Sound. And I'm telling you, the average net worth of the people in the room,
I can imagine,
7 figures and above.
Yeah.
Okay. And as I'm looking around the room, I'm looking and I'm like, wow, okay. Investment banks.
Yeah.
Like,
you immediately think audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I was pulling in and parking, I'm looking at the cars, and I look at things differently since going through the accelerator.
Yeah.
So I see opportunities that I never knew existed or that I overlooked before.
It's fascinating. Like, now you have this eye to look for marketing opportunities.
Yeah. And so now, instead of being drudgery, now it's kind of like a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So Brave Enough to Fail, where can people find out more about what you guys are up to?
braveenough2fail.org. And we are a wonderful, growing nonprofit. Our mission is simple. We are cultivating a new generation of leaders, creators, and achievers.
It's so good. Amazing. Wayne, absolute pleasure. I think you ducked out of class to talk to me. So thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's an absolute pleasure.
No problem, Chris. Thank you so much. And thank you really for all the help. And I look forward to continuing to work with you guys.